Hello there, and welcome to the channel. Well, I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you enjoyed the interview with Joanne. I just think she's super, so I hope you liked it. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about something that I think is becoming more and more of an issue for teachers now. And since I'm not in the classroom, I welcome comments from somebody who is in the classroom. If somebody sees this who's currently teaching in a classroom with young people. I want to talk about clickbait. The reason I want to start with clickbait is I think many people don't really see how our interactions with the internet and the World Wide Web have been changing year by year, or even month by month sometimes. And I think it is a good idea for teachers to interact with the internet as much as possible in a way that resembles how the students interact with it, so that they can help teach their students how to navigate this space. And so the first thing I want to suggest is cooperate with your students in interesting ways. Cooperate with students to show them and remind them that your relationship with them is not really antagonistic. You're on their side. You want them to succeed. And if you make the relationship too antagonistic, they're less likely to share with you how they're interacting with the materials they're coming across. We know that they're going to interact with the web, or I like to call it the interweb, just to irritate my students, because there's something of the imp of the perverse in me. If you try to do the assignment the way they try to do the assignment, you may discover what they're up against. One of the things they're more up against now than we ever were, or when I say we, I mean people that were at the front end of this revolution. When it used to be, when you looked up sites on the internet, it was really clear which sites were about selling you stuff and which sites were really just information sites. And it was relatively easy judging them. You could judge internet sources by the way they were credited on the site. And I was always a big advocate for scholarly sites developing a universal method of citation. In other words, if I go to that site, there should be a tab that I can press on that site where I get the bibliographic information so that I can add it to my paper. The big thing about doing research for students is giving credit where you find that information. And it's one of the challenges that students have to do that. And I think machine learning, or what some people call artificial intelligence, is actually making this more complicated. And therefore, I'll talk about that specifically tomorrow. But I want to suggest that you offer students a look at the stuff that you like to look at, whether it's scholarly or not. So, for example, I love to look at YouTube. And I sometimes find things on YouTube that are really wonderful. Some of them are scholarly, some of them are not. But I liked sharing them with students. And when I did that, students felt free to share things with me. So I came across Strong Bad and Homestar Runner and Trogdor, which you may or may not know about, which kids today may or may not know about. But when I came across them, they were absolutely wonderful and funny and delightful. I came across Angry Alien Productions. You may know about them. A lot of people don't know about them. But they're little 30-second vignette forms of popular movies. And they're funny. They're wonderful. I came across all sorts of videos that I thought were interesting and effective, and I was able to share them with the students. And the students brought me things that they thought I would like, and they shared them with me. By doing this, I built with them a sense of we're in this together. The things that we have access to through this machine system are wonderful, but we also must show some form of judgment and reflect on these things that we're using. And so I think you should absolutely encourage your students to share those things with you. One of the things that makes that productive is if students see you interacting with this material the way they interact with it, they're more likely to be able to solve the problems they face as they move forward. Because just as the internet has changed since I started school, since it started being a big part of school, it's changed year by year in ways that I think are really hard on young people. I think it's really difficult for young people to figure out which sites are worthy and which sites are not. I think it's very difficult for students to resist something called artificial intelligence or ChatGPT because it seems like somebody that's smarter than them and on their side the way it's designed. But it's not. It's not someone, and it's definitely not on their side. So please, when you're working with young people or any age students, and they have questions about sources online, about online websites, about influencers, about programs, please try to avail yourself of information that will be helpful to them. And try to be an advocate for them. Tell them, I'm on your side. I want you to be successful. I'm not really interested in whether or not some program or system is successful in your stead. I'm actually interested in you being successful. And I think advocating for them and advocating for their success will be a powerful thing to help them resist the dangers that they're exposed to through that. That's it for today. I hope you have a glorious rest of the day, and I hope you see me soon. You gorgeous people.